An ancient claim distinguishes Ethiopia. Significantly, its monarchy ruled for over 700 continuous years, maintaining an unbroken lineage unmatched in duration by virtually any other state or kingdom throughout recorded history. This extraordinary historical longevity is intrinsically linked to a deeply held legendary origin story, asserting the Solomonic Dynasty's direct descent from King Solomon of ancient Israel and Menelik the famed Queen of Sheba. The Kebra Nagast, a foundational Ethiopian national epic and religious text, meticulously details this sacred connection, establishing the divine right and legitimacy that underpinned the Solomonic rulers' enduring authority over their land and people for centuries. Centuries into this remarkable and enduring reign, King Lalibela governed the kingdom during the late 12th and early 13th centuries, a period marked by significant cultural blossoming and profound religious devotion across the entire realm. Under his visionary direction, 11 extraordinary churches were created by being carved directly downwards from the solid living rock massive monolithic structures excavated deeply into the earth by highly skilled artisans. These incredible rock-hewn churches were meticulously designed and constructed to serve as a sacred New Jerusalem on Ethiopian soil, intended to become a primary pilgrimage site for faithful Christians across the region and beyond. The kingdom frequently faced various complex challenges throughout its exceptionally long history, including periods of intense internal power struggles and significant external threats. But the core Solomonic line consistently endured and successfully adapted. By the latter part of the 19th century, Emperor Menelik II rose to power, confronting the aggressive and pervasive wave of European colonial expansion, relentlessly sweeping across the entire African continent, seeking new territories and resources persistently. Menelik II proved to be a remarkably astute and strategic leader who prioritized modernizing his military forces with contemporary European weapons and effective training tactics to effectively defend his ancient empire from potential invaders. He also skillfully worked to unify various disparate regions under firm central government control, consolidating his royal power and substantially expanding the effective administrative reach of the Ethiopian state in preparation for impending challenges ahead. Italy harbored strong expansionist ambitions to establish a colonial protectorate over independent Ethiopia, a desire that ultimately culminated in a major direct military confrontation at the pivotal Battle of Adwa in northern Ethiopia during March of the year 1896 decisively and unexpectedly. Emperor Menelik II personally led his well-prepared and highly motivated Ethiopian forces, drawn from across the empire, against the invading Italian army, and inflicted a stunning and truly remarkable battlefield defeat upon the colonial power's troops unexpected globally. The Ethiopian victory at Adwa resonated globally with immense significance as the first instance where a modern African army successfully and decisively defeated a major European colonial power in a large-scale conventional pitched battle openly fought by armies. This historic and unprecedented triumph effectively secured Ethiopia's cherished independence, ensuring it proudly remained one of the very few African nations to successfully resist the widespread tide of European colonization and maintain its national sovereignty throughout that era. Several decades later, Emperor Haile Selassie ascended to the imperial throne in 1930, immediately initiating ambitious efforts to further modernize the country and integrate it more fully and equitably into the developing international political and economic system for progress. He implemented significant reforms targeting crucial infrastructure development, considerably expanding access to modern education systems, and establishing a more centralized and efficient governmental administration structure across the empire's diverse and widespread regions effectively. Despite these forward-looking efforts, fascist Italy under Benito Mussolini, still seeking bitter retribution for their prior defeat at Adwa, launched a renewed and brutal invasion in 1935, employing advanced military technology and chemical weapons against the defending Ethiopian army defenders. Forcing him into temporary exile, Emperor Haile Selassie delivered an incredibly powerful and moving address to the assembled League of Nations, starkly warning the world leaders about the grave imminent dangers posed by unchecked international aggression and expansionist ambitions globally if unopposed. While the Italian forces managed to occupy major Ethiopian cities and towns, temporarily, a fierce and widespread patriotic resistance movement continued tirelessly throughout the vast Ethiopian countryside, led by courageous local fighters who resolutely refused to surrender their homeland or spirit. With the global conflict of World War II turning tides, decisively Allied and Ethiopian forces collaborated to successfully liberate the occupied country in 1941, allowing Emperor Haile Selassie to make a triumphant and symbolic return to his capital city Addis Ababa with great ceremony. In the significant post-war era, Ethiopia proudly became a founding member of the newly formed United Nations organization, and subsequently played a genuinely pivotal leadership role in supporting the burgeoning independence movements across the remaining colonized territories of Africa effectively. Nevertheless, internal challenges continued to persistently mount within the empire, notably including devastating widespread famines, periods of sluggish economic progress, and increasingly vocal demands from the population for fundamental political and crucial social reforms throughout the nation's diverse regions. Public discontent simmered and steadily grew stronger, fueled by widespread economic hardship, deep-seated perceptions of corruption within the government structure, and the imperial government's apparent inability to effectively address the genuine and pressing needs of its many citizens across the land. This growing internal instability and unrest ultimately culminated in 1974, when a military coordinating committee commonly known as the Derg successfully overthrew the aging Emperor Haile Selassie and forcibly seized complete control of the national government in a swift and decisive action. The sudden deposition of Emperor Haile Selassie definitively marked the absolute end of the ancient Solomonic Dynasty's incredibly long and historically significant reign, thereby finally closing a foundational chapter in Ethiopian history that had remarkably spanned well over 7 centuries of continuous rule and legacy.